Yes, I'm here to give you the top 7 things to think about if you want to go from out to outstanding when it comes to business automation. But not only that, I will give you the secret to why does it feel like everything is going so fast. You heard several other speakers talking about it is going fast, it is a lot of change, but I've got the secret. Why do we feel that it's going too fast? Before we get started, thank you for showing up, and I'm humbled to see that you're all here. As you can hear, I'm not natively English. I'm actually from Sweden. Do not hold that against me. There are 2 things that comes to mind when I again arrived to Finland. It is actually you're really, really good at hosting an event. I've been to a couple of events here in Finland, both in Helsinki and other areas. Nordic Business Forum, for mention among others. This is my first time here at Zervicepoint. But still, you're really good at hosting an event. That, and I think you got an awesome startup or an entrepreneurial arena here evolving around Helsinki. A lot of startups, a lot of exciting things coming out. And secondly, every time I visited Finland at least, it's sunny. And that's exactly what you do as well. Every time I said it, you smile. So that has led me to believe that in Finland, it's always sunny and it's the most happiest people in the world. And that's not the... Yeah, I should come back more often. Thank you. Because that's not the thing in Sweden. We get rain, and I'm from Gothenburg, so we got a lot of rain. Anyhow, I'm from Enfo, as you mentioned. How many of you have heard of Enfo? Yeah, I get a few. I'm head of product team, where we build a product called Zervicepoint. Have any one of you heard of Zervicepoint? No, yeah, a few of you. Anyhow, I'm not here to talk about our awesome product or whatever. I'm here actually to share our knowledge and my common belief when it comes to business automation. And by business automation, I'm mainly talking about the automation of business administration. And this is also the area where I think we as humans or organization hasn't gone all the way yet. We've seen the Industrial Revolution, we've come really far away. We've got robots in our factories. We still don't have robots in our offices. Who knows? It might be. But here we got a lot of automation things to do. And this is what this topic will be about. The top 7 things to think about if you want to go from outstanding in business automation. So, but before we get started, I'm going to give you the secret. Why do we feel, or at least I feel, it's going really, really fast? How many of you feel that it's quite hard actually to keep up what's happening in the world? Huh? I still believe I'm quite young. And if my grandma were alive, bless her heart, she would say, "No, it's going too fast. I don't like the change." And I'm starting to feel like that. I'm not even half her age. It's happening so much. I'm almost believe that there's going to be a robot coming into our arena here today. We got 3D printing, we got AI talking about, okay, it's not ready for just buying it altogether yet. Machine learning, we got the cloud, that's yesterday's news, but it's still happening, it's a big transformation. And all of a sudden, I feel like I can't keep up. It feels like we got a digital evolution on steroids. Why is it that I, or we, don't really feel that we can keep up with this? We are not wired for this as humans. This is what we are built for. Our evolution has come to, we still only can take change that is local and linear. And by local, I mean change that is happening in the room, things that we can observe, like in the nature. Something that's happening around our house or our surrounding. That's what we are built for. And by linear, I mean that things go after one another, like summer goes into fall, goes into winter. That is what we are built for. And all of a sudden, we got a totally different world. It's not local. The change is not linear. It's global. It's happening. The same time keeps happening all over the world at the same time. And the change doesn't go step by step. It's exponential. It takes leaps. And we can't even see them. All of a sudden, you can 3D print a house. Where did that come from? I know 3D printing been out there for a while, but still, for me as a human, it just pops up. And this is the secret. So if you only take one thing with you from today, it is calm down. We can't keep up with this change. So just adapt to it and go with the flow. It is actually in this world where we as Team Zervicepoint aim to bring some order into this chaos, or hierarchy, as the new word I learned yesterday. We aim to bring out the heart in every organization. We actually strive for, and it's the long term, that we would like to make business automation as easy as one click. And when we do that, there are 7 things that we look at. So why a top 7, by the way? It is inspired by a guy called Guy Kawasaki. How many of you have heard of Guy Kawasaki? A few of you. He has actually worked with Steve Jobs, you know, the Apple guy. So he's been an Apple evangelist. And today he's actually teaching and helping a lot of startups coming about. So he's a lot into entrepreneurship. And he says that if you want to do something, a presentation like this, like I'm doing, and not at this event, but at other events, there are presentations that are not that really amusing, or they could be boring. Do a top 10 list. Because if you do a top 10 list, at least they know how far you have gone and when you will be done. So that's one reason, a top 7. And why not a top 10 list? I do a top 7 because that is something I will pick up when we end this show. So let's get started. Number 1 in going from ouch to outstanding. It's an easy one, and you know it. It is all about automation today. Everything you do. We heard it before, and it is going to be. But it is not enough. We need to think about it not only as an organization. We need to think about it as humans and individuals as well. I mean, how many of you constantly think that how can I automate my own work until next week? It's going to be all about automation. We come as organizations and such pretty good at system tasks and system integrations, where we have system or computers talking to each other. That kind of automations we're pretty good at. And we're pretty good at also doing it on the factory floor, like I said before, the Industrial Revolution. But when it comes to us working together, we have not come nearly as far. We're actually going in now, as I believe, to a second phase where we actually truly are automating human tasks, even in classic departments such as IT, finance, HR. And not only the human task, our human mind as well, as AI. It is actually a kind of automating our human brains. And why is this important? It is actually because it will hit our foundation. We, not only as organization or as departments, need to re-evaluate what we will actually do when at least half the time of what we are actually spending today will be done by something else. I personally believe that we will come to the step in the decade or two that we will automate so much things that we as individuals or we as humans need to re-evaluate what it actually means to be human. If 99% of what I do today can be done with 1% of the effort, what will I do with the other 99%? I will be done with my presumably work in 5 minutes. What will I do with the other 8 hours during the day? So, take that with you. It's all about automation, and we need to. Secondly, this is not number 6. It's actually a customer case, which I would like to bring up. Södra in Sweden is the largest owner-associated organization in Sweden, which owns a lot of forest. Around more than 50,000 owners in Sweden are collectively joined in an organization called Södra, with around roughly 3,500 employees. They don't only do, of course, timber, they build houses as well, and do produce mass to make paper as such. They have started their automation journey because they felt that they didn't need a big AI project, but they needed to improve the everyday work of me as a manager and you as an employee starting working at us. So they started with actually the stuff that matters to us as people. They actually spent just 1 year ago or so running around with papers, and it was a lot of papers just to getting one employee starting at their firm. What they did was actually, it seems like we're talking about AI in the next room, and what they did was actually going back to trying to minimize the amount of paperwork. That's yesterday's news. That's what we tried in the 90s. No, they did that today, and it helped them a lot. I can't disclose their figures, but they actually went from roughly around, in lead time, from weeks to days. And in effort, they at least reduced it by half. And what they felt was most important, it wasn't the ROI in that, it was that actually it improved the appearance that they make when a new employee starts at their company. Because that is a competitive factor for them, because they are not located in Stockholm or Gothenburg or the major cities in Sweden. They're located in Växjö, in the heart of Småland, in south of Sweden. So they need to be competitive when it comes to employee satisfaction. Let's get back to the list. Number 6. Use systems as intended. Gone are the days when there could be one system to rule them all. I'm still amazed that there are companies that actually try to do that, one system to rule them all, and that it is still out there. I mean, we got a wide variety of systems to choose from. So number 6 is actually use systems as intended and pick one that is actually working. And that is what Södra actually did. They got an excellent HR system, but they realized that that system is good at being an HR system. You probably get a good system for finance, you got a good for IT, etc. So, make every system and have a purpose for it. And don't forget that you probably need something that is also working for the employees. Let's get to number 5. Get your priorities straight, then automate. It is so easy to get caught up in, I just need to automate, I just need a new system, I just put everything in place. But think before you actually do this. And think about in what area in your organization that you actually are doing it. To make it simpler, we got on your left-hand side, you get activities that are being done from all of the time to seldom. And you got on the bottom how many are actually doing it. You've seen so many organizations missing out on this. You got the few people on the left-hand side, and you got all on the right-hand side. I mean, this is the easy pick, finding the star there. You need to pick the things that all of us is doing and do it often. It's not uncommon that you sometimes pick the few, what management thinks is the most hassle, and what the management does all the time. That is a danger zone. Don't be there. Get the full picture and do automation where it matters for most of us, and something that we do all the time. And this is the real danger zone. It's so easy to get caught up in what I believe, but it's only a task that I do, not many. And this is really simple. You can do it on yourself as an individual. You can do it as yourself on your team or your department. The killer thing to take with you. Okay, next one, number 4. What is this? Think big, act small. We heard it yesterday from, I dropped the name, but doing the daily work is not as important as daily improving your work. So think big and act small. And I mean, you go away from this event or any other event and you feel that, oh, I should start a new AI project. We should start doing machine learning. Yeah, that is good things as well. But look at your organization. Continue to think big, but act small on an everyday basis. That is more important than actually doing a big AI project. I would also say that change isn't really that hard, actually. It's just that you need to do something different tomorrow than you're actually doing today. So think big, act small, and continuously improve. And that's why you need to think about how you actually produce things when you start a project or a new improvement. This is a simple setup on how you actually can see business automation. Somewhere in the bottom you have a process, something we do. You want to automate some areas in that process, and then of course you would like to scale it with self-service so every us of employees can utilize it. What you want to do is to pick a slice of this, build an MVP. How many of you know what an MVP is? Minimum viable product. Almost everyone. It's the least amount of things you can do to actually learn something and then you do it again. So what is the least? And my takeaway with this is that don't do an MVP on only processes. Don't do it, definitely not only on automation, not only on self-service or the end user interface. Do it as a slice through it completely. Number 3. That could be actually my grandma. It's not. Number 3 is two major things that is going on that I feel is probably the most important for us as humans to make. It is actually the consumerization and the democratization of everything. And it actually means in practical terms that we as end users or we as humans or individuals actually have the power today. So what does that have to do with business automation? This is really good for us, for me, you, but it gets a little bit trickier for us as an organization when we would like to introduce change when we would like to introduce a new system, because we feel that it is improving the daily work for our employees. Because gone are the days when we as an IT department could just enforce a system upon people, or us as management. Because we as end user, or humans, as I would like to say it, we choose what we want to do. We always find ways going around if we don't get what we want. So it is no longer a logistic journey to make us as individuals to change behavior. It's actually a pedagogical one, or an educational one. You need actually to you cannot just tell me what to do. You need actually to change my behavior by educating me into changing my behavior. So please stop going home. Please stop feeling it's like Department A got system, Department B is ready, Department C is ready. No, they're not ready, because if you haven't changed your behavior, if you haven't done it educationally, you haven't done anything. The only thing you have made could be another obstacle for the employees to get around. And we will get around. We most definitely have the power to do it. And it is also a competitive factor. It is today that we as organizations fight over the best employees all over. And we are it's in a scarce resource. So if you want to have the best employees at your place, you need to have the best tools, the best routines as well. You cannot say use this, because if we don't find a way around it, we will find a different employer. So it is truly, truly important. Number 2. It's not tattoos. It's not the second most important thing when it comes to business automation. Because when we as humans have the power, what do we want the most? We want to have the freedom to do it ourselves. This is a guy or a girl tattooing him or herself. That's why I'm getting at. Do it yourself. It's also something that perhaps we're not talking that much about in the business, but in the consumer world, do it yourself, or DIY, is a major thing. And that is what we actually would like to have at least the possibility to do. Not every time, but we would like to have that. And that means that we, as an organization or a service provider, need actually to give that. So the second most important thing is self-service. Self-service and self-service. It cannot be stated enough. Today, and especially if you see the new millennials coming out, everything needs to be when I want it, and I want it now or later, but I want it when I want it, not when you would like to provide the service. And we need to start thinking the same, not only as we do in the consumer world, but also within the business. Why? I'm still amazed by that. Why can I get the same type of service within my organization as I get when I order a Uber or when I'm using Spotify? Why can't the HR systems be as good as that? For not talking about the finance systems. Time reporting today. I know there are some out there, but the general thing, as soon as you get to a bigger corporation, they actually start to suck at bringing a positive consumer experience into the business world, where we're actually working. We are inside these organizations. So, self-service is not only a way of you for improving the quality of the service as you might provide as an IT department to the rest of the organization. It is also money in this, and it's pretty good ROI as well, because self-service it is the way that you actually scale all your investments in efficiency, like automation. If you have a process, you digitize this, you automate some parts. If you then sprinkle some self-service on that it can be triggered by anyone, you're actually providing it to everyone. So that's how you actually scale your investments in all the efficiency work you've done. And at the same time, actually giving us as individuals what we want, so we can do it when we want it. Closing in on the final one. See if anyone can guess this one. I think this is probably the most important one when it comes to business automation and what we're talking about today, about where are we as humans going and what will be our part in history when we look back 100 years from now, when robots, machines are doing everything. And it's not only in history, it's what I think is the most important when it comes to business automation. It is co-creation and cooperation. If you want to do really valuable work, if you want to do really good things that makes us as organization efficient, you need to start co-creating and cooperate. We come across so many organizations where the HR department has some kind of opinion of the IT department, and the IT department get opinion, but for not talking about the finance, the no-sayers. We need to start co-creating and cooperating. And especially when it comes to giving me as an individual, as a new employee, or as an employee already working, a good experience of what is actually happening when I work here. So, if you feel familiar with this, on Monday, invite someone from HR, someone from IT, someone from finance, and start talking about how you can actually co-create and cooperate to be more efficient together. So, there we have it. The top 10 things to think about when it comes to business automation. If you want to go from ouch to outstanding, all the way from co-creation and cooperation down to it's all about automation. Now we got just one final thing left. Or two, if you have any questions. Why do you think it is 7, top 7? It is like an Easter egg, because I'm that nerdy. Can anyone figure out why is it a 7? I get a prize for you. I get the best summer gift for you ever. Just shout out if you can see why it is a 7. Why did I choose? It is both those, and the third one is, of course, it's I wanted to do some commercials as well. You were the only one saying something, so I will give you this. It is a summer gift. It got 2 things. An umbrella, because in Sweden we get a lot of rain during summer. And the second thing is, of course, you got sandals for the beach, because you get sun here in Finland. So here you go. Thank you. So that's it.